Hi there folks, welcome. My name is Marcelle and I'm here on behalf of the Astro Matrix channel to bring you some information about the full moon that's happening on the 27th of this month at 8 degrees of Virgo. So for those of you who are new to our channel, please, if you do enjoy this content, like and subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell because we do regular updates. And please do stick around because at the end of this reading we will be doing an actual tarot reading where we pick the cards for the collective to see how you will be impacted by the full moon that's going to be playing out. So this full moon forms part of quite an intense month that has involved a lot of restriction versus change, themes around restriction versus rebellion, and it's had to do with the Saturn and the Uranus square that's been going on. So the full moon will be impacted by both of these planets, but it's also been affected by the Aquarius stellium that happened at the beginning of the month, where we had 6 planets in Aquarius, all affecting us on such deep levels depending on where or which part of our charts was ruled by Aquarius. So this full moon, I feel, is really about a culmination, as it always is, but in this case it really is an opportunity to really let something go that's no longer serving you. So depending on which area of the chart, your chart, the full moon falls in, you'll get a clearer sense of what the theme is that you're needing to work with and let go of. So the full moon is in a conjunction to Lucifer, which is a fixed star, and Lucifer is very much to do with playing small. It's connected to the Judeo-Christian system of being smaller than God, and so wherever it falls into your chart, which in this case is in a transit right next to the full moon, it's about how is it emotionally that you are playing small. Now, because the moon is in Virgo, it has to do with Virgo themes. So Virgo, it has a very deep connection to the earth wisdom. It is an earth sign on the healthy end of the spectrum. It's also about our daily routines. It's ruled by Mercury, how our mind functions. So it's the thoughts that we think on a day-to-day basis. It's also to do with attention to detail and how we methodically and consistently work towards something or achieve something. But on the unhealthy end of the spectrum, it can have to do with being too much of a critique, especially towards self, and especially because it has to do with the moon and the emotions. So how are you overly critical? But also, how are you overly perfectionist? It's too much perfectionism that doesn't allow things to simply flow, especially because on the opposite end of the moon, and when we have a full moon, we have the sun in opposition to the moon, we have the Pisces sun. So the Pisces sun is an opposite energy to Virgo, in that if Virgo is all about control, putting things into boxes, structure, detail, then Pisces is all about dissolving. It's about going with the flow. It's about expansiveness. It's not about boxes. So the sun also happens to have Venus coming in close to it. So both the sun and Venus will now be in Pisces, having moved out from that stellium in Aquarius, lightening up that intensity of the Aquarius energy. The sun is now in Pisces, and Venus is there as well. So we have this full moon happening in Virgo with Lucifer, and so emotionally what you're needing to explore is how it is that perhaps you are playing small in whatever the arena of the chart is. Emotionally, how is it that you're playing small and through being overly critical or overly detailed or overly perfectionist, as opposed to letting go and letting God and allowing things to flow and allowing things to find their own way to fall into place, and not having the need to have such control over things. So as I mentioned, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, And it just so happens that Mercury, which was in a retrograde, has now gone direct on the 20th, by the 27th of when the full moon happens of February. Mercury would have now gone direct. It's just gone direct, and it's in between Saturn and Jupiter, and it's now moving direct towards in the direction of Pisces, but it's still in Aquarius, and it's closer to Jupiter than what it is to Saturn. So it's kind of, Mercury rules the mind, it's the reasoning, it's the thinking, it's the logic. Saturn is about restriction, and Jupiter is about expansion. So it's this theme of restriction, slowing down, carefully considering things versus rushing into things, expanding with things, the excitement of this expansion. So kind of, the mind in between both of these, finding a balance between these changes that are needing to happen in our lives. And I feel that it really correlates to where this full moon is in your chart in Virgo, right there with Lucifer. Now, because the Mercury is now moving direct, it is moving in the direction of Jupiter and away from Saturn. So it's no longer exploring themes of restriction and control, but it's now moving closer towards themes of expansion. And so you might find that when Mercury does come into an exact conjunction with Jupiter a few days later, you may have some really bright or profound ideas, clarity coming through for you, especially in relation to this theme that is playing out with the moon in Virgo in a conjunction to Lucifer. How is it that you're playing small around control, around being too critical, around being too structured? Because remember, the theme that's been playing out not only for this month of February but for the whole year, a very strong part of this theme is about the old versus the new. It's the Saturn square Uranus conjunction, restriction and control versus rebellion and radical transformation. And it's ultimately about, not only within our own lives but on this planet, finding a healthy balance between how it is that we can shift from that which is outdated and restrictive into that which is new and innovative and expansive, in such a way that we bring through the goodness of the old structures with us to hold a foundation as we move forward. So it's not just about, blasting through without any foundation. We still need to take what we've learned from the past with us in order to forge a new way forward. And this applies to our own lives. So, wherever it is that we are, like I said, playing small, too critical, holding on to things too tightly, too much control, with this full moon in Virgo, and with the full moon being about culmination, things coming to closure, reaching its peak, reaching its climax, in order for a letting go to happen, it just so happens that this full moon is also in two aspects to Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn is about restriction and control. It represents the old, and Uranus is about this liberation and radical breakthrough and innovation. And so the moon is forming an inconjunct to Saturn. It's not a comfortable aspect. They're not speaking the same language. And so it's really re-examining what responsibility means for you, what restriction and control means for you, versus the moon, which is in a trine to Uranus. So Uranus is, because remember, it wants to break through this radical innovation. So it's really supporting this moon, this full moon, with inspiration and innovation. Like it's the bright spark that the Uranus is, it's electrical. It's all about energy. It's forward thinking. It's innovative. And so it's hitting this moon in a beautiful trine and really supporting wherever that strictness or control or, wherever it is that we're too much of a perfectionist or too critical of ourselves emotionally, which creates this playing small in that arena of our charts, in our lives. Uranus is coming along and offering this support. But at the same time, there will be the exploration of what responsibility means that we're needing to take with us moving forward. And so while all of this is happening, the Sun is opposite Virgo in Pisces there with Venus, which is a very beautiful, soft, feminine energy. It's very much about going with the flow. It's very creative. And so because Venus is there as well, it's really highlighting the need for expansion and for going with the flow and for letting go and for this new creative energy that's needing to come through as we're meeting these changes in our lives. So it's finding this healthy balance between, again, letting go and structure, control. So in a way, the Virgo quality is about perfectionism. It is about control. It is about having things in order and in structure, whereas Pisces is the opposite. So yeah, so this is the gist of what's playing out for the full moon, and I do feel that it is a very positive time for inspiration and change. And so again, it's very useful to look to your chart to see which house the full moon is falling into, to get a sense of the themes for you to explore. And you know, just, yeah, once you know where the full moon is and once you know where the sun is, it's easier to understand what you're needing to work with. All right, so as promised, at the end of each reading, I always do a tarot reading on behalf of the collective to do with this full moon. So I've got 4 questions I'm going to be exploring, and as I shuffle the cards on behalf of the collective, I'll read them out to you. So the first one is, what is the full moon wanting of me? The second one is, where is change needed in my life? And the third one is, where am I too restricted? Versus, and the fourth one, what brings inspiration and support into my life? So remember, this is on behalf of the collective, and give this cards a good shuffle. This is on behalf of the collective, and it's regarding the full moon that is happening in Virgo on the 27th of February. All right, so the theme of the reading is, let's take a look. Theme of the reading is the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is about surrender. Surrender, letting go, acceptance. So if we're in this place of control, you know, I feel that the Hangman aligns more with the Pisces quality of surrendering and accepting, the letting go and the letting of God, allowing free will to happen. So the first question is, what is the full moon wanting of me? And we have the Hermit. The next question is, where is change needed in my life? Where is change needed in my life? And we have 3 of Cups. I will explain all of these now. The next question is, where am I too restrictive in my life? Where am I too restrictive in my life? And remember, these questions are on behalf of the collective. Where am I too restrictive? 2 of Swords. And the last question is, what will bring inspiration and support into my life? What will bring inspiration and support into my life? The King of Pentacles. Okay. All right. So the first question is, so as I mentioned, the theme is the Hanged Man, which is about, so the Hanged Man is about surrender and letting go, and it's a period of suspension, allowing things to unfold. I feel that this is further amplified by the Hermit card related to the question, what is the full moon wanting of me? So the Hermit is really about spending time alone during this full moon in order to reflect on what it is that you're needing to let go of. So I feel like it's, you know, just with everything that's been playing out over this month of February, but what will continue playing out over this year, I feel like there's a really strong theme for you that is undergoing some kind of shift and transformation. And I feel that it relates to a core aspect of your wounding that you're needing to explore. And so it's really important to give yourself some time to really feel into the energies of what's coming up in order to transform it and release it. The next question is, where is change needed in my life? And we've got the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is a kind of celebration and joy, but also about unity. It's about coming together as a community, as a collective, and sharing joy. You know, it's not just about sharing joy with your family or with your friends, but the ability to share joy with random people, knowing that you all belong ultimately to the same tribe. And it's also the awareness that when people come together, great change can happen, especially when it's focused on something for the greater good. People coming together, forming this unity and sharing this joy together can bring radical results and changes. So the next question is, where am I being too restrictive? And so we've got the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is this woman crossing her heart, and because her mind is dominating. Her mind cannot see clearly. It's wanting control, which is what Virgo is about. It's one of the themes, one of the more unhealthy end of the themes of what Virgo is about control and criticism for things not being exactly like this. And it can be about needing things to be perfect. So it's about control. And so this mind is not seeing things clearly yet because, you know, as the Pisces quality is about, it reflects this expansiveness, but also this the certain chaos of not having control and not being able to see what's coming next and not knowing everything that's playing out, but surrendering to that, the Hanged Man, surrendering to that and allowing it to be like that. So starting to get more comfortable with not fully having control. And so because this woman has crossed her heart, she's not allowing not only her emotions to flow or to experience whatever the dynamics of whatever's playing out to impact her, she's trying too hard to be in control. So it's almost like there's an element of stalemate to it. Like we can't really evolve or move forward as long as we're trying to control everything and not allowing the intensity of our emotions to flow, regardless of not having control. So we don't have control, there's a letting go. It can feel intense, it can feel scary, but that's okay, just feel it, because life is always in change. And so the last question is, what brings inspiration and support? And so we have the King of Pentacles here, and this is an earth energy. And the King of Pentacles is about the mastery of our connection to earth. It's about financial security and stability. And it's about maturity and the wisdom of our responsibility towards earth, but also our responsibility towards our family and those that are closest to us, our friends and our family. You know, the King of Pentacles is someone who cares deeply about the people that work for him. He cares deeply about his family. He feels a sense of responsibility, and he has control over the financial elements and the practical elements that are related to all of these people. So I feel that what brings inspiration and support is about starting to feel some kind of responsibility, not only to the earth and our connection to the earth, but also to those that are around us, that are close to us, that are connected to us. And it'll bring support and inspiration, connecting to those around us, uniting with them, and becoming a support system that they can depend on. So it's almost like this unifying exchange that happens because we're working with a bigger picture and not just supporting our own needs. So it's reaching out, learning to reach out to those around us and sharing our support, and sharing our sense of responsibility towards not only their lives and where we're all heading, towards not only our own lives and where we're heading, but also their lives. So I feel like it has to do with, it's a very earth quality that's connected for all of us. So yeah, those are the questions, and I've just answered, and I hope that brings some insight to what's playing out for you around this full moon. But remember, it is about, well, according to the card, it's suggesting that time alone will allow you to think about what these questions, how they were answered. Think about what the reading was about regarding the full moon, how it applies to your chart specifically, and what are the changes that are needed. And this will activate, and you will experience the support of the Uranus moon trine in order for these breakthroughs to happen. So again, please, if you enjoyed this content, do like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring the notification bell, as well as leaving your comments. We always appreciate your comments. We love to hear what you have to say. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful full moon. Bye for now.